Black Power, good morning. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge, salute, and thank everyone who is still being active as far as combating this police terrorism, as far as the prison strike, as far as the boycotts, as far as getting information out about alternative businesses in the community to support. Quite often, this is the under-recognized, under-acknowledged work that supports and makes successful the long-term things that has to happen in these movements. Also want to acknowledge Comrade Julia Wallace and STRAP, Strike Against Police Terror. They have been doing work within unions to get unions to sever ties from police unions. And all of this collective work is obviously having a effect. Last week, one of the chiefs of their police unions came out and offered an apology, but you cannot apologize for genocide. Too often, white people commit mass murder, mass thievery, mass kidnapping, and other mass destruction, and simply feel as though they can offer an apology, while at the same time punishing people for committing way lesser crimes. So it's time we start holding them accountable to the same standards of justice they've been dishing out to other people. Also, as far as the prison strike, this past week we were contacted by the family of Robert Washington. He is being accused of stabbing a prison guard in Holman Prison in Alabama. But as we know, quite often, the pigs are the aggressors in these situations, so most likely the brother was put in a situation where he had to defend himself, and afterwards he was tied up, his head was busted, his ribs were cracked. So I'm including information within the description of how people can help call and inquire and demand he gets medical attention, that his family can visit him, but just making sure we know where he's at. Also, been putting out a call to include a commissary boycott within this prison strike. The commissary is another scam they're running on inmates where they capitalize big time off of their conditions. So just talking to a lot of different groups, inmates, to see how that can be incorporated into the other efforts that are taking place. Also, this past week, South Africa took the step to leave the International Criminal Court, which is very big. President Mugabe of Zimbabwe put out that call a few years ago. Again, the International Criminal Court is a bogus organization of mostly Europeans. They give themselves immunity for their war crimes, but then they target people who they don't have under their control and hunt them down and remove them from the heads of their nations. So salute to South Africa for taking that first step. Also, we just a few weeks away from this election, but again, as most of you are starting to figure out, Hillary Clinton is going to be the next president of the United States. So at this point, it's now looking past that and figuring out how to better organize ourselves for the wrath she's about to unleash. And I believe it's going to be immediate, like in November, the middle of November forward. They've been cleaning house this whole year. I finally saw election year purge the other night, and that was one of the things they said in the movie. If you watch the movie, they basically are telling you what they're doing this year. Before it began, one of their heads said this year's purge, they will do some spring cleaning. And if you pretty much notice, since spring, Prince, Afeni Shakur, and a lot of other people, Dr. Sabi, in addition to these police murders, in addition to the Zika viruses and all this other madness, they have been purging this planet of the what they consider to be undesirables. So we really have to start organizing ourselves for the wrath that is coming. Also, this past week, Sean King, the white boy who a lot of y'all have been praising, revealed, he's supporting Hillary. So again, this idea of a white savior, y'all, it's time to wake up and abandon that foolishness. In the end of the day, people stick what they own. Yeah, he's gotten a platform, made a lot of money off of talking about the black struggle and police terrorism. However, he's revealed his card. He's supporting the queen of police terrorism. It's not possible. Also, this past week, a brother named Rollo, a rapper out of Atlanta, put out a challenge to other rappers. He took $50,000 and made it rain on some homeless people. I've seen 2 other people accept that challenge. Some people are disapproving of how he did it, but again, it's getting cold. Some of y'all are sitting in homes, sipping on hot chocolate and tea, so you are not out there in the brunt of what's going on. $50,000, it was about 20 people who it was spread it amongst. So that gives them a room for a week or two. That gives them food for multiple nights, because some people saying, well, I'll go out there and shake hand, I'll give them a meal or $5. But beyond that moment that you're helping them, a lot more help is needed. And again, money isn't the answer to our problems. It's coming together and collectively figuring out. But in the meantime, between time, immediate relief is needed. So salute to Brother Rollo and everybody else stepping up on that. On our end, later on today at 3 out here in Los Angeles at Leimert Park, we will continue to break bread with the community. Leimert Park, there's a serious housing crisis. It's being flooded with drugs. We're looking at the overall genocide that's taking place, LAPD being the #1 terrorist organization within the U.S. So we just calling on everybody to come out, thanking everyone who stepped up last week, participated, donated, thanking everyone who came forward over this past week, saying they're going to help out because it's most definitely needed. Come on out if you can. We also have another group who is planning on coming out there with us today. The forecast say it might sprinkle, but regardless, we're going to be out there. Also, the Black Dot Empowerment Network, who we teamed up with, put up a GoFundMe this past week. So all who are in a position to do so, please donate and contribute to that. Otherwise, just come and join us, eat us, you know. And lastly, as always, the most important thing right now is protecting ourselves and each other. Again, some of y'all still haven't connected with your 3 to 5 people who you will reach out to respond on your behalf in an emergency situation. Please do that. This past week, there was one brother in St. Louis who put up a video as he was being attacked by the pigs. Unfortunately, I made an error of thinking he was in East St. Louis, so I contacted East St. Louis police, and they ran me around saying they didn't have him. Turns out he was in St. Louis, so I guess it's a situation where it's 2 separate cities. I didn't know that, but again, identify your 3 to 5 people, text them first, then put your video up. All power to the people.